Alright, so as we step further into the world of technology here at Sri Lanka's first ever premier ICT convention, we have a session that dives deep into a topic that affects all of us. Digital economy.
That's right, Senoth. Let me ask you before, how is the digital revolution shaping Sri Lanka today? What opportunities and challenges does it bring to our country?
Truth be told, I don't know how to answer that, but to help us explore these questions, we are honored to have with us Mr. Sachindra Samararatne from the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka, and he will guide us through the impact of the digital economy on Sri Lanka's present and future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving him a warm round of applause.
A very good morning to you all. Thank you, sir, Secretary of Ministry of Digital Economy, Mr. Varno Dhanupala, for setting the foundation and the tone for this day. Thank you to the organizers of this wonderful event for inviting ICTA to be a partner and also to talk about the digital economy and how it will affect the Sri Lankan landscape. I'll ask a question first. May I know from this audience, who of you has access to a computer or a smartphone? Can you raise your hands up? Access to a computer or a smartphone? Just raise your hands up if you have access to a computer or a smartphone. Almost everyone. Thank you. You must be wondering why I asked that particular question. I started my career as a IT BPM career guidance speaker. In 2010, when I used to ask this question from students, it's only a few hands that went up. Only a few hands. What advantage does it give you when you have access to a computer or a smartphone? You, my boys and girls, are digital natives. We, of course, are digital immigrants. Digital natives had access to a computer or smartphone from day one. What does that mean? So we asked the question, how is a digital economy going to change the landscape of Sri Lanka? It's not the digital economy which is going to change the landscape of Sri Lanka, it's you. You will be part of this Sri Lanka 2030 journey which changes everything that this country is. But keeping in mind, and that's why the Sri Lanka word has a Sri Lanka flag, keeping in mind that everything that we do will be in context, will be appropriate to our nation. But the vision will be in par with global giants, and that's why the 2030 talks about digital. So this is what I'm going to unravel to you today. How can you be part of this journey? It's not someone else. Of course, Mr. Dhanupala and I have been in this, pursuing this vision for many years, him for more than 25 years, me for 15 years, wanting to see a digital Sri Lanka. So we are in we are in the cusp of digital exponential growth right now. And we have a vision of 5 years as a new government, working for government, to see this take place. So let's see where Sri Lanka is heading. The main policies of our government right now are these three main elements. It's very important to understand what each element means. Clean Sri Lanka, it's about mindset. We have a South Asian mindset because we live in South Asia. We want to act like Western, we want to act like global, but still we have a bit of a South Asian mindset inside all of us. This is what we have to change, where empathy becomes a reality for all of us. Empathy would mean not always thinking about ourselves and our journey from point A to point B, but also thinking about others. That's what clean Sri Lanka really means. It's not about cleanliness only. It's not about environment. It's our mindset. If the mindset of you guys who are sitting in these chairs don't change, our country doesn't have hope. Because you're the hope who's going to change this entire game. Poverty alleviation. Poverty alleviation can only be done with such a mindset change. And the centerpiece, digital economy, will be an enabler to do that. But if you don't think about the other person, this will not happen. Digital is only a tool. The platform that we provide is only a tool. It will be used by humans. And the chairman who spoke at the beginning, chairman of RCS, explained that it's the human intelligence which will use the tools of digital economy to bring about this change that is taking place. It's our imagination, it's our empathy, it's our humanness. No artificial intelligence will replace that. I'll give you a signal, guys, to move the slide. Okay, the digital economy in a snapshot is elaborated from this slide. So I'll take one by one. The secretary mentioned about the export revenue of this digital industry. When it becomes the digital economy, it has many facets. The digital economy has many facets. He spoke about currently we having a digital economy GDP contribution of $3.5 billion. And this $3.5 billion is approximately about 5% of GDP. This includes $1.5 billion of export revenue from the IT industry. Now think about this. 10 years back, those kids who couldn't raise their hands up, who didn't see a computer and who would never have thought about a smartphone, built this industry. And I see some of them sitting here working for top-notch companies. They built this industry to $1.5 billion. Those who didn't have access to computers and smartphones. And that's why, because we have now access to all these technologies, to information at our fingertips, that's a 3x growth, more than a 3x growth. We have to grow each year 20% year on year to get there. Right now we are 6%. So these are ambitious goals that Sri Lanka has. And in this digital economy, you also have opportunities to become a freelancer, which some of you might already be. Working with students, I know a lot of you might be freelancing on your free time and even earning revenue right now. Because the opportunity of what the digital economy puts forward is for everyone. There's no single person who has access to these devices, to technology, to the internet, need to be out of it. Then there's a new element for this digital economy, which I will elaborate in the future, which is the startup ecosystem, and an indicator called the startup ecosystem value. So all these years, when we went into schools, we promoted the brand of IT industry saying, let's work for international companies. Back in 2010 to about 2015, that's what we used to say. I'm sure even in career guidance for you guys, it will be, let's work for international companies, which is a great thing. Later onwards, entrepreneurship came into this space. Back in 2010, we would have had about a handful of people who actually started a business in tech. Right now, we have many. We believe that the IT product economy, which is building a software in Sri Lanka which addresses a problem. The chairman mentioned about the human element of problem solving. Addressing a certain problem by building a solution, that's the way that Sri Lanka will achieve that $5 billion. Because that has what we call value. If a particular company brings in a certain amount of export revenue, let's say $1 million of export revenue, the value of that company can be $10 million. There's a multiplier. It's much higher. The very popular company ⴚᴜ, which all the IT students want to go and work at, when they sold or exited their company at $100 million of revenue, their value was $600 million. And Nsinga, who's a sponsor of this particular event, when the founder, Imal, was acquired by another company in Singapore, their export revenue was $1 million, but their value was $15.5 million. Therefore, the next change that is taking place in this IT industry is building software products and valuing those which will solve global problems. I will move on. Sri Lanka is well known for affordable talent, well known as a destination which has created top-notch talent for the world. Not only Sri Lanka, we have so many Sri Lankans who are working for top-notch companies across the world, and we are known for talent. The Secretary mentioned about the Global Innovation Index. That is how we convert the talent to actual innovation, actual products that will solve problems, solutions that will solve problems. And that is up to you guys. I know this is a challenge that is taking place. This itself is a competition, which we will review what problems you are solving and how good are you at solving that problem using that tech solution that you are mentioning. Next slide, please. I'm sorry for the clarity of this slide. To achieve this $5 billion, there are multiple programs that are taking place, which one I would describe to you in the future slides as well. But for you, for students to engage, especially during this month of digital, there are many opportunities out there during this particular month. There's a robotics challenge taking place in Gaul during the second week of September. There are multiple events on fintech, on AI that is taking place during this month. And I will specifically talk to you about one program happening during the third week of September as well. So just keep in mind as schools who are gathered here that during this month, keep your eyes out for these multiple opportunities that are out there that you can be part of. I would like to invite the teachers who are representing the schools to look at these opportunities which are there, the programs which are there, and to get the children involved in them. Next slide, please. I mentioned to you about the products ecosystem. So these are some companies that have built products which are solving problems. SenseMate is a company which solves problems using an IoT platform when it comes to measuring temperature, and have used the same solution as SenseAgro for agriculture in IT, or agritech as agritech. So they are changing the landscape of farmers in terms of their well-being and their yield. We use technology to solve a problem, and that problem, which when it's solved, has to benefit in a certain outcome. That's something very important for you to know in your product. Does it help you, if it's agriculture, does it help you increase yield? Which means the harvest. Does it help you increase your harvest? If you're using a particular technology in your company, does it help you increase your productivity, your efficiency, your effectiveness? Technology is only useful when it helps mankind, when it helps the overall economy. So that's a parameter that we need to always think about. Gendo is a young company which built a non-invasive medical device which detects cardiovascular diseases, which means heart attacks, so on and so forth, cardiovascular diseases beforehand. And they are trialing this in clinics. They are under clinical trials as it goes with ethical considerations. And this is a company which has got patents in Japan and USA. And they built this technology in Sri Lanka. So you don't need to go out of Sri Lanka searching for green pastures in international universities to build this kind of technology. You can do it right here, sitting in Sri Lanka with the ecosystem that we promise we are building for you, which these founders have already used to build this type of tech. And BoardPack is another company which builds board management solutions, which the Indian Reserve Bank and the third largest bank, which is HDFC, is utilizing right now. Hence why I mentioned to you that Sri Lankan talent, Sri Lankan products are powering many companies, the Fortune 100 to Fortune 500 companies over the world. And they were built right here, not anywhere else. They were built right here. So this potential has increased significantly because of the access to artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. And there are, next slide. There are many companies like that who are building software solutions all over Sri Lanka, solving these kind of problems. Here are some logos that you will see. Search for some of these companies and find out what they do. And if you go down the path of employment, look at being employed in these companies, which we call startups and scale-ups, because they need talent. And when you finish your degree, when you finish your higher education, don't only look at the larger multinational companies, but also look at being employed in startups or building products who will change the game in Sri Lanka and who will change the game for industries over the world. Next slide, please. These companies have been invested by some of the largest private equity and venture capital firms in the world. That's the credibility that Sri Lankan software engineering has right now. That they were able to convince, as an example, EQT, the 7th largest private equity firm in the world, Sri Lankan software engineering products were able to convince them to acquire those companies. That's the credibility that Sri Lankan technology talent has. The talent that is sitting right here. The products that were built at a time when computers and mobile phones were not accessible. Then, when all this access is provided to you, how much more value should Sri Lanka be able to create for this digital economy that we are talking about? How much more value should then we be able to create? Think about it. It's up to you. It's your choice. For those children who are sitting in these tables, it's your choice the path that Sri Lanka takes for the next 5 years. Next slide. Next slide, please. I'm skipping a few slides. This is an important distribution. Earlier slide, please. Yes. This slide has been skewed for some reason, but this diagram was supposed to depict a Sri Lankan image where the distribution of Sri Lankan startups, Sri Lankan tech startups over the country. The distribution of Sri Lankan tech startups over the country. Now you will see, while Western province has many startups, there are others. There are 1/3 of the total population of startups distributed across Western province, beyond Western province. Northern province being the second largest. I've just returned from a competition called the YAL Geek Challenge. The YAL Geek Challenge took place for the past 14 years and has been organized by a community organization called YAL IT. They had 150 applications of software product ideas which came into the competition, and 25 were pitching during that day. Multiple investors from many countries flew in to listen to those pitches, and they set up their businesses in Jaffna itself. I'll highlight one company called Arogya. Arogya. If you have been visiting private hospitals or private medical centers like MediHealth, the software that they run is built in Jaffna by a team who are sitting in Jaffna who's running that solution, and they are growing. There are multiple product companies who are in Jaffna who's now going global. This is just one province which is putting a huge effort to build a Silicon Valley. All the other provinces have startup hubs. It's important that we support and work with all other provinces for the dividends of digital economy to be distributed across the country, not only Western province. If this Western province, maybe there are schools from out of Western province as well here, but for schools specifically in Western province, I challenge you, you need to work with your brother and sister schools outside the province so that, as the secretary mentioned, the collaboration will take place, innovation will take place across the country, and you will be able to build solutions not only to solve problems in Sri Lanka, but to solve problems all over the world. Think global from the start. If you run competitions, if you're thinking about ideas to solve problems, think global from the start. Next slide, please. These are some successful entrepreneurs. When I say successful entrepreneurs, I'm not talking about the poster children of whom we all know, who I mentioned earlier as well, the big companies. These guys are hustling. These guys are facing challenges. They don't have, or they didn't have, the ecosystem that you now have today. This Nadini is a female entrepreneur who is a speech therapist. building an app for children to help them in speech therapy. Nevendri Premaratne, one of my previous colleagues, I think her school is also represented here, who's building STEM education kits for children. I'll take 2 minutes more. Mr. Balathasan Sayantan, a product of Royal College. He's the #1 community builder in the north, which I mentioned. The YAL IT Hub was started by him and run for the past 14 years, a product of Royal College. Samira and Chamira, they run a company in Bandaravela. They built an app called Kaiju Labs, a company called Kaiju Labs, and they were able to sell it to a Singaporean company called Cast for $2 million. They haven't even started earning revenue for $2 million. And it's a founder of Nsinga through their venture company, N Ventures, who helped them do that. That's the potential that they have. And they are not built in Colombo even. One in Bandaravela. And this particular gentleman who's there, I don't know if you see him, just behind the guitar, Sanjeeva Pathirana, he's from Ratnapura. He built a company from scratch who provides solutions for banking sector. One of the top-notch core banking solutions which have been built from, I need to correct that, from Ʀᴏᴜᴜ, and now he has expanded his company to Singapore. This is the type of talent that Sri Lanka has and something that we can be really proud of. This boy, Dilanka Sanjeeva, is from Ratnapura. He is now part of the top 30 startups selected to exhibit at a premier conference and exhibition called Disrupt Asia. And his story is something that you need to listen to. A gentleman that you need to invite and listen to how his life changed because of the dividends of digital economy, because of the opportunity of IT, how him, his family, and that even that entire population that he gives employment to, how their lives changed. Next slide, please. Last but not least, I want to invite you all to the Sri Lanka's premier Startup Conference and Innovation Festival, which is the flagship event of this digital month. It's called Disrupt Asia. You might have seen it, might have not. The 19th of September, shall we go to the next slide? The 19th of September, next slide please. 19th of September during Disrupt Asia is called the Innovation Festival. It will be held at Trace Expert City in Maradana. This is an open forum where there will be 50 startup products being showcased for you to be inspired with. Next slide, please. 19th of September at Trace City. If those who are serious in becoming a part of the tech startup ecosystem, we have a conference on the 18th held at Cinnamon Life, which you have to buy a ticket and come. But if you are serious in becoming a tech startup and growing, I would also encourage you to do that. But for all of those who want to really experience what technology products are about in Sri Lanka, 19th of September, Trace Expert City Innovation Festival is a place for you to be. It starts at 2 p.m. and goes on till 7 p.m. Keep that in mind. I invite all the schools to block their calendars for this time. You'll be able to experience STEM technologies, robotic technologies, and many other tech startups who have taken the path of entrepreneurship, who have gone through this journey, who have hustled and have become successful, showcasing on that day. So that will be a good time for all of you to be inspired, since today is all about innovation. As the chairman mentioned, it's about innovation. It's about how people change the landscape of Sri Lanka. It's about how people change the landscape of Sri Lanka. And digital economy will provide you the platform. Digital will be the tool that you will use. Next slide, please. Later, towards November, this is again for entrepreneurs and schools, especially invite in the entrepreneurship clubs of schools, IT clubs of schools to be part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's another product of Royal College. Charit, my colleague at ICTA, who ran this show last year, with Abid, another product of Royal College, who ran this Global Entrepreneurship Week. This year as well, we plan to do a massive campaign. And Sri Lanka, by the way, is one of the top 6 countries of 140 countries who run global entrepreneurship. We are among the top 6 in the leaderboard. So you could be proud of what your nation has achieved. With that, I'll come to the last slide and leaving you with those thoughts. Disrupt Asia, 19th of September at Trace Expert City. Global Entrepreneurship Week are things that you can engage in. So keep in mind, the changing landscape of Sri Lanka is up to you. The change of digital economy using digital as a tool is up to you. It's up to you to change this future of Sri Lanka. The vision Sri Lanka 2030 is a tool, is a direction that we will all take together. And on a more lighter note, the last slide is blue, black and blue, not by chance. Thank you very much.